Well, hello everyone, Greg Scott Bailey. I'm back again with my Marvel movie marathon. Week 5 is Captain America, the First Avenger. So Chris Evans stars as Captain America, Steve Rogers. We had Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, and of course Sebastian Stan as James Buchanan, Bucky Barnes. Tommy Lee Jones, Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull, Dominic Cooper as Howard Stark, and Stanley Tucci as Dr. Erskine, the guy that comes up with the formula that helps Captain America become the super soldier he is. So this movie, I feel, is a real delightful addition to the first chunk of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we build up towards the Avengers. I like the fact that they actually start in modern day briefly, then shoot back to the past, and then come back full swing to modern day. If this was the first movie in the entire series of the cinematic universe they were building, then I actually would love it. They just stayed completely in the past, and then we got surprised later with the addition of being in the future. For those that don't know, in the comic books, of course, Jack Kirby and Joe Simon created Captain America, and later on, when Marvel became a company from Timely and all these changes in the 60s, um, Stan Lee brought him back, and they went ahead and kind of brought him as if he was frozen and brought back in modern day at that point. So that's the 60s. So you're looking at only about 20 years of being frozen. And then, of course, as the comic books rehashed his origin, then it was 40 years he was frozen, 60 years he was frozen, now 70 years he's frozen. So in the movie here, of course, since the movie came out in 2011, and the story takes place in 1942 and 1943. You're looking at about 70 years difference. So it's really kind of neat to see a fresh take on this. And in the movie, where we've already had Chris Evans as the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movies, we've seen him in other kind of comic book style movies before. This is where I feel he really found his home. Was his fitting, is the role of Captain America. One of the greatest portrayals about this character is when you see him as scrawny little Steve. Great effects, by the way. You get to see that he still just does not want to back down from bullies. He does not want to back down from people who just want to pick on others. And that elevates as it gets into the war and he becomes Captain America. And obviously, the Red Skull being one of the biggest bullies of both the Nazi regime and uh, Red Skull's faction, the Hydra group. So it was just really neat to kind of see him kind of translate that and elevate that. And it made Dr. Erskine's character that much more humbling when he could see something in Steve and see something better in Steve than they saw in, of course, the Red Skull. Johann Schmidt. I'm looking over an Internet Movie Database to remind myself. Real quick, Stanley Tucci as Dr. Erskine. This is a role that Stanley Tucci portrayed that I have not seen him do. He usually has kind of some of these other little like goofy, you almost feel like he's going to backstab you kind of characters, and so those get kind of frustrating. This one was sweet. It was humbling. It was a scientist. I loved the accent. I loved everything about the character. So as you see what happens to him, we of course are emotionally attached to him, and it sucks. But we see the motivation for Steve to step up and be Captain America through that character. Now, as the foil, as Johann Schmidt, aka the Red Skull, Hugo Weaving steps up to the plate in this game. He plays what I feel is almost an equal role to Doctor Octopus in the Spider-Man 2 movies, where you're playing a comic book character that has these comic book eccentrics and attitudes, and sometimes that doesn't translate to movie very well. It becomes off goofy and it comes off cheesy. But Hugo Weaving pulls it off here, and so much so that almost everybody I talk to hopes that the Red Skull will return and will return played by Hugo Weaving. Word on the street is he doesn't want to come back, and he might be contractually obligated to come back. He might change his mind. So let's hope Hugo Weaving, if you're watching this for some reason, I'm one of those fans. I really do hope you get to come back as the Red Skull because I absolutely loved your portrayal. You're a great actor, and I love what you do. Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter, what a wonderful evolution of her later on down the road. But we're talking about this movie, of course. Peggy Carter is your your love interest for Steve, but there's more to just a love interest in this case. You're talking about someone who, in Steve's case, he is kind of the 70 years ago kind of person when it comes to love and romance, respect and honor. When it comes to someone that he is in love with, Peggy Carter tends to be that perfect person for him. Uh, if I were to use a term for that time, she ain't no floozy. She ain't no dame. She is a woman that is, I feel, equal for Steve. And so throughout this movie, you of course see in a small way he wants to win her affection, but he doesn't know how. Yet by being who he is, he does win her affection. He won her affection as scrawny little Steve. He won it as, super soldier Steve. So I really like the chemistry that they have. I do kind of wish that sometimes I wish that there was two movies back in the past, back in World War II. But it's really nice to kind of see their chemistry, and of course, it led a lot of us to wanting to see more of Peggy Carter, which we do in both movies and in the TV show, limited TV show, the ABC put out. Um, and of course, I got to wrap this up by saying Bucky, played by Sebastian Stan, we didn't know where things were going to go for that character. And so when we watch what happens later on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you go back and watch Captain America, the First Avenger, and you pay attention to Bucky, Sebastian Stan is just wonderful. He is a best friend. I'm getting a little choked up thinking about it. He's a great best friend, Steve, and what I see their chemistry brings to the table is just, that's the kind of friendship you want to see in others. You want to see people that will stand up for each other, give each other little rib jabs once in a while, but to see them and then fight alongside each other, you wish and you hope that you could see more of it. And of course, we find out that answer later on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Um, what else can I say? Of course, we end up seeing Captain America at the end comes to present and full time, the future times. It's a nice little end scene of the movie. And if anybody has watched any of the deleted scenes, I recommend seeing the extended cut when Captain America talks to Nick Fury. That's pretty much it for now. I know I could talk about more. Just seeing the fight and the battles between Captain America, his Howling Commandos, and the rest of that group going up against Red Skull and Hydra. There's a nice little montage in there where you get to see them fight and battle. You get to see some really great use of the shield. Like it would only work in a movie like this or in a comic book where you can throw a shield, it would bounce off walls and come back to you, you know. But they do it in a believable way, I feel. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks again for stopping by my channel. This is Marvel Movie Marathon, week number 5, and Captain America, the First Avenger. If you liked the video, go ahead and click thumbs up for me if you can. Help me get this channel boosted up a little bit. We're going for 4,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers to meet YouTube's new requirements for partnership program. So as of now, we're at 157 subscribers. I got a little ways to go, and I got till February 20th to do it. So hit subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you can get notified when I go live or have a new video posted. I'm Greg Scott Bailey, and as always, we'll see you on the next adventure, which is the Avengers next week. Bye-bye.